Gojo the white-haired pretty boy is up against Yuta, the cursed child. Both are respected monsters of Jujutsu Kaisen and both are borderline unmatched in the series. But in a fight between the two, who would win? Who would come out on top as the strongest sorcerer of Jujutsu Kaisen? Well, without wasting any more of your time, let's jump right into it. Now, I feel like it's only right that I start with Yuta, and by extension, Rika, as he's had a lot less screen time in the series than Gojo has. Plus, a lot of you would like to hear my thoughts and explanation on Gojo's abilities, so I'll use that to keep you around just a bit longer. Yuta Okkotsu, or the Cursed Child as he's also been referred to, is aside from Gojo the most unique existence in Jujutsu Kaisen. Yuta possesses an extremely fast amount of cursed energy, and it is presumed that he'll never run out of cursed energy in a fight. It's believed that even if the fight was to last several days, Yuta would still have a surplus of cursed energy upon its ending. Despite Yuta's more timid and reserved personality, he actually has some impressive abilities that would really help him in a fight versus Satoru Gojo. Yuta is only one of 4 special grade sorcerers recognized by Jujutsu High. While being haunted by Rika's Fendril Spears, Yuta was immediately recognized as a special grade due to Rika's immense power. Rika, once a childhood friend and love interest, turned Fendril Spears and monstrous weapon. As a Fendril Spear, Rika desired only to protect Yuta, but her great power often caused her to harm others in the process. Rika's power is unmatched in terms of pure destructive ability, and a fully manifested cursed Rika was considered a grave threat by the Jujutsu higher-ups, to the point where they doubted if even Satoru Gojo could contain her. And by the simple manifestation of only her arms, she could easily bring harm to non-sorcerers and Jujutsu sorcerers alike. Once Yuta trusted his connection with her and allowed her to fully manifest, Rika's power eclipsed that of nearly all the other curses in the series. To put this in perspective, if Rika was matched up in a fight versus the likes of Maharaga, it is believed that Rika would easily win that fight. You know, the same Maharaga that's given Gojo a run for his money in the manga. Even Satoru Gojo, a curse manipulator with well over 4,000 cursed spirits in his possession, believes that Rika is without a doubt the undisputed queen of curses. And Yuta, while using Rika, has quite the arsenal of abilities at her disposal. She has an endless supply of cursed energy, making her extremely powerful to the point that it was near impossible to exercise her. A fully manifested Rika can copy and allow Yuta to use other curse techniques, such as the curse speech technique of the Inumaki clan. And even despite his apparent inexperience with the ability, Yuta showed that he is not only able to copy such an ability, but also was capable of improving upon it. And also, as a fully manifested cursed spirit, Rika can use physical attacks as well as jutsu. In her first manifestation, she tore apart a massive spear with her bare hands. In her second full manifestation, she was able to take a smaller form to properly aid Yuta in a direct battle against Geto. She can fight alongside Yuta, increase his mobility by carrying him, block incoming attacks, and even carry his injured allies by using her dark sack made of cursed energy. She's really sounding overpowered right now. But that's not all. Potentially the strongest ability in her arsenal is the Cursed Energy Blast. Yuta, upon promising to join Rika after death for an eternity together in love, he planned to sacrifice himself to surpass the limits of her cursed energy. This opened Rika's eye and transformed her into an even more powerful state, one capable of unleashing an energy beam of pure love, the strongest of all curses. Rika's final attack successfully overpowered Geto's maximum Uzumaki and his special grade Fendril Spears. Rika is truly terrifying when you lay out all of her abilities like this, and if Gojo didn't already exist in the series, there would be no question on who would take his place as the strongest. But the pretty boy powerhouse that is Gojo does exist, and is who we'll be discussing next. Now, a lot of Gojo's finer points have been covered in my previous videos, so as to not bore anyone who's already seen them, this will be a more condensed version of an explanation. If you'd like to see a more in-depth version, then I'd link the previous videos in the description, so please check them out and then come back to this one. Satoru Gojo, the untouchable sorcerer of Jujutsu Kaisen, shortly after his awakening in his fight versus Toji, Gojo was named the strongest sorcerer in the world. He is the first person to inherit both the Limitless and the Six Eyes in over 400 years. He also possesses an immense amount of cursed energy. Gojo is so dangerous that Suguru stated that he had the capability of killing all of humanity by himself. Gojo himself even claimed that he could defeat Sukuna at his full power, which if you've been reading the manga you would know this is very close to the absolute truth. Gojo was capable of entirely overpowering and killing Jogo, who was the strongest in the group of curses. It was stated that Gojo's presence in the world is enough on its own to keep everyone at bay. Many would or could never think of challenging the hierarchy out of fear of his power. So with that bit of Gojo hype out of the way, let's discuss his abilities. Gojo has quite a few abilities at his disposal, and each is more powerful than the last. First, let me explain what I believe to be his most important ability, his reverse curse technique. For Gojo himself, he didn't actually understand this technique until after he was effectively killed by Toji. But shortly after this life and death experience, he began to learn the true nature of his reverse curse technique, and became even more powerful than he already was. His reverse curse technique allows him to heal himself instantaneously, without showing any signs of pain or being affected by the blood loss. Gojo uses this incredible ability to buy time in battle to fully recover his curse technique. And recovering this ability doesn't actually take all that long, due to his immeasurable cursed energy. Gojo is known within the Jujutsu society as the strongest Jujutsu sorcerer in the world. He earned this alias due to the immeasurable amounts of cursed energy that he possesses. The only one that has ever come close to the same amount is Yuta. Gojo's cursed energy is fast enough that he can use domain expansion multiple times per day, which is something that shouldn't be possible or needed, as most fights are often done with just one. But alas, there is one man who Gojo needed countless domains to defeat. Any guesses who that may be? Tell me in the comments. Gojo also has his red and blue abilities, which to put simply is just extreme versions of pushing, pulling, and twisting. But his real weapon of mass destruction is his purple. This technique brings the concept of motion and reversal into reality. Purple is born from merging both infinities, blue and red, to produce an imaginary mass that rushes forth and erases everything in its path, rather than the attraction from blue, or the repulsion from red. Purple is an extraordinarily destructive energy wave of annihilation that rips whatever it hits from existence. To put this in perspective, Toji was able to tank both blue and red attacks, but was killed by just one use of the purple. Purple is pure destruction and is potentially the strongest weapon in Gojo's arsenal other than his domain expansion, which is what we'll be covering next. Gojo's domain is called Unlimited Void. It creates a metaphysical space that causes the victim to receive all kinds of stimuli and information endlessly. This restrains their thought process and actions, and the only other domain equal to this in raw strength has been Sukuna's Malevolent Shrine. Gojo is borderline unbeatable, and this brief explanation of just a few of his abilities should prove why. And as I said before, for a more extensive explanation on every one of his abilities, check the description. In that video, I explain both the 6 size and the limitless in extreme detail. But now for the conclusion of how this battle may go down, and who stands the best chance of winning the fight. Well, as we've seen with Gojo and Geto's interaction, Gojo does struggle to kill his loved ones, but is not incapable of doing so. So I believe after a long, drawn-out battle versus his protege, Gojo would most likely weaken Yuta with his purple ability, before then capturing him in his domain, where he will try his best to end his beloved student quickly and painlessly. So yeah, despite being one of the toughest fights Gojo probably will ever have, Yuta would most likely lose in the end. And this is largely due to Gojo's limitless and reverse curse technique just being too powerful for Yuta to withstand. Yuta would land a few hits, but nothing the untouchable god couldn't simply heal from. But what do you think of this outcome? Do you think Gojo wins this fight fairly easily? Or do you think it'll be a lot closer than many realize? Tell me all that in the comments below. And with that, that's going to do it for me. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and peace.